We're going to make some fresh pasta dough this afternoon in the lodge. I've got 300 grams of double O flour, which is specially milled Italian pasta flour. This is Italian one. You can get them from the supermarket. Their own is perfectly fine. You need 100 grams of flour to each egg that you use. So this is a great thing for kids to get involved in. It's made on the work surface. So you tip your flour onto the work surface, make a well in the middle like that, and I'm going to crack into there 3 eggs, large eggs. I crack them into the middle, just like so. And also a little bit of water in there too, about a tablespoon of water per egg. Just going to wash my hands because I've got eggs on them. I'm going to add some water as well. Just a tablespoon of water for each egg. And a good sprinkling of salt in there too. And then this is the fun part. Take a fork and you whisk your eggs inside that well, and you've got to try and keep it in there without breaking the dam at the side. So as you're whisking, what you're doing is you're drawing in the flour. So just keep making sure that your wall of flour stays up, and then your egg won't escape. And you keep going until it gets really sort of quite sludgy, the egg, and then we can start to break in the rest of the flour. But just keep trying to not let it escape. You can see that it's getting thicker as I'm whisking it because it's drawing the flour in from the outside. This is a great thing. It can get very, very messy, of course, but it's good fun. And keep going. Just keep whisking away and building that wall up all the time as you go. You see it's getting thicker and thicker now. Oh, a little bit of escape there. Let's get it back in. It's good workout too. It's almost escaped that time. Keep bringing it in. And as it starts to get thicker now, what you can do is just bring in the rest of the flour from the middle, or into the middle rather, and just cut it into your egg mixture like that. And it will all eventually come together. It looks a puddly, horrible mess at the moment, but it does eventually come together to form a dough. So now we need to do a bit more kneading once we get this all mixed in. And this kneads for 5 minutes. With pasta, you need to knead it because you want the gluten to start working, because obviously it needs to stretch to get really nice and thin. So once you've got it all brought in together, you can see it's sort of managed to gather up all that flour. You then can start kneading. Don't add any more flour, so you don't want your pasta dough to be dry. You just keep kneading that in, and that will eventually bring all the rest of that flour in there too. It wants to become really nice and smooth and stretchy eventually. So 5 minutes worth of kneading. Remember, pull away, push back with the heel of your hand. It's a good stress reliever times like these to make your own pasta. It's good fun. Once you get the method going, it's really easy to make pasta and a good sort of family thing to do together. So there we go, it's coming smoother now. So I'll do that 5 minutes and we'll come back to it and you can have a look and see what it looks like. I've had 5 minutes of kneading. Got now a really nice, soft, smooth dough. I did have to add a little bit more flour onto my work surface because it was a little bit sticky. If it does stick, just very gently scatter a bit of flour over like that. Not too much because you don't want to make this too stiff with flour. So that now gets wrapped up for half an hour. You leave it at the room temperature on the work surface, and then we'll roll it out. We're going to roll out our pasta. I've set up my pasta machine on the end here, and we'll unwrap this pasta dough. So it should be nicely rested now. We'll cut that into 4 and work with a quarter at a time. Just take that off there, cut it into 4. Now I'm going to use, this is semolina flour. This is the best flour to use to roll your pasta out with. You can get this online. It's much finer than normal semolina. It's a semolina flour as opposed to semolina. So what you need to do is, first of all, just shape this piece into a sort of partial rectangle and set your pasta machine up to the widest setting. Now this piece is going to go through the machine like this. Pop it in, roll it through. Make sure it's dusted with that semolina flour. Have it handy. So you give it another dusting, twist it over, and then fold it in half, and then it's going to go back through again. You're going to do this process 5 times. This smooths out the dough and takes out any bubbles that might be in there, and then you can start to get it thinner and thinner. So this was my friend Francesca's top tip to making your pasta dough nice and neat. So 5 times like this, still on the widest setting. You can hear that popping. Make sure you dust it on both sides as you do it. Through again. One more time. And then we can start to take it through and make it thinner and thinner. So again, make sure you give it a liberal dusting of your flour, and then turn the machine 1 notch narrower and take it through again. And then all you do now is just keep going back 1 notch at a time, making sure that you just get some of that flour on your pasta as you do it. So there we go. And now you want to make sure that you get it nicely dusted on both sides, and to cut it, just keep dusting it so it doesn't stick together. You're just going to cut it into wide strips like that, and then you can open them up. I've improvised with a barbecue rack for my pasta. Now this just allows it to dry out a little. You have to open it up pretty quickly or it might start to stick together. So you can see I've got nice wide strips. Then pop it on there, and we'll do the same with the rest of it. So make sure, as I say, before you cut it, that you've dusted it well, otherwise you will have difficulty separating this pasta. And then we'll do the next one and then repeat with the rest of the pasta dough. So I'll just pop this one through once more on this last setting. If you prefer your pasta a bit thicker, you can keep it at that last stage if you want to. But I think this is about the right thickness. Let's give it a good dusting again and again. Don't worry about this flour as you cook it and boil it, it'll come off in the water. So nice thick pieces of pasta. There you have your pappardelle. If you wanted to make lasagna, obviously you just cut it into the appropriate size sheets. And if you want to make tagliatelle, there is, with most pasta machines, a cutting arm that goes onto the end of the machine, which will cut into both, cuts into sort of linguine and tagliatelle. So you can do as you wish.